Hey everybody, this is Blood Archer from Morningstar Madness, and today I'm presenting a new deck profile for my Burning Abyss deck. Hope you guys enjoy. First and foremost, 3 copies of Tor Guide in the Underworld. Basically, she's one of the main key pieces to my deck strategy. She's normal summon, special summon a level 3 Fiend from the hand or deck, but negate its effects. Also cannot be used as synchro material, but that's irrelevant, it just helps me get my plays going. Next we have the Burning Abyss, 2 copies of Graph. All the Burning Abyss share the same thing, where if you have no spells and traps, you can special summon from your hand. If there's a non-Burning Abyss on the field, they will get destroyed, and if they're sent to the grave, they have separate effects. You cannot use the special summon from hand effect and the graveyard effect. You can use either or. So for Graph, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can special summon a Burning Abyss from the deck, and for Seer, you can special summon a Burning Abyss from the graveyard. Even though the ban list recently decided to be nice and put them both in 3, I thought it'd be a little too clunky, and also, if the game was going on that long, even with the stuff I have to recycle cards, I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Next we have Barbar. Same abilities as the other, graveyard effect as well as can be special summoned. But if it's sent to the grave, I can banish up to 3 Burning Abyss cards in my grave, and if I do, my opponent takes 300 burn damage for each. Then we have Skarm. Skarm's effect is if it gets sent to the grave, end phase, I can add a level 3 Dark Fiend from my deck to my hand, except for itself. We have Farfa YGO, I mean Farfa. If it's sent to the grave, it can target a monster on the field, and it gets banished to the end phase. All very useful. Next we have Alec, Malebranche of the Burning Abyss. This is essentially similar to an Effect Veiler. If it's sent to the grave, it can target a face-up monster in the field, negate its effects until the end of the turn. Fun fact, you can use it for either your monsters or your opponents. Then we have Rubik, the only tuner in the deck. Can't be used as synchro material except for a Burning Abyss synchro. And if you control no spells and traps, you can special summon this card from your hand. It's useful to make a very specific extra deck monster or as an extender, so it's actually useful. Then we have the last regular member of the main deck, Libic. When this monster is sent to the grave, you can special summon 1 level 3 Dark Fiend from your hand, but its effects are negated. Next we have what should be a Burning Abyss, Fiendish Rhino Warrior. While it's on the field, Fiend monsters except itself cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. If this is sent to the graveyard, I can send 1 Fiend from my deck to the graveyard except itself. So this essentially helps protect your monsters, which can bypass the law that says if there's a non-Burning Abyss, they go kaboom, as well as it's a Foolish Burial. Edgem Sabers. This is a Fluffle card. You don't love me! But if this card is in your grave, you can place 1 card from your hand to the top of your deck, special summon this card in defense mode. So it's a level 3 Fiend extender for some of my plays. Next we have 2 Psychos. Psychic types. Psychic Tracker and Psychic Wielder. Literally both of them are the same except for the fact Wielder is a tuner. If I have a level 3, other than itself, special summon from hand. And Wielder being a tuner, meaning I actually have some options for synchro plays. Since Rubik is so restrictive, this gives me another option. Then we have an old throwback, Sangan. Now, I know Sangan has been eroded, but there's actually a way to cheat that restriction, that if it gets sent from field to grave, you can add a monster, 1500 or less attack from deck to hand, but you can't activate cards or effects of cards with the same name. There's a few cards that exist in the game that bypass that. Here he is, Gillosaurus. You can special summon this card from your hand. If special summoned this way, activate this effect. Your opponent can special summon 1 monster from their graveyard. So as I was saying, you could use Tor Guide summon Sangan, make one of your key plays. Sangan gets you a search for Gillosaurus. The summon condition part of Gillosaurus is not negated, it'll just come out from your hand, but the effect part to give your opponent a monster won't work. So you essentially give yourself a free level 3 extender. Last monster, Absolute King Backjack. During your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard. This is a quick effect. You mill the top card of your deck, and if it's a normal trap, you can set it to your field. Otherwise, send it to the grave. That set card can be activated during this turn. So during your opponent's turn, you could potentially get one of your good battle traps to be set and use that same turn. Second thing, if it's sent to the grave, I get to look at the top 3 cards of my deck, then place them on the top of my deck in any order. For the spells, Monster Reborn, I love it. Almost no deck I really make these days. The only reason why I would never run Monster Reborn is only because of space, or if it doesn't use the graveyard. Then we have Emergency Teleport. Allows me to special summon those 2 Psychics as an extension if I really am in need for another monster. Hot Avarice. Since I run a lot of monsters, there's going to be come a time between my extra deck and my main deck where I'm going to have a lot in my grave and I'm potentially going to need to recycle resources. Upstart Goblin. Draw 1, my opponent gains 1,000. Life points don't really matter. And for one of my spice cards, Metalfoes Fusion. Now, people are going, what? This is a Metalfoes Polymerization card. True. But I have a couple of cards that need discard cards as well as I mill cards from deck to grave. If this is in the grave, once per turn, I can shuffle it back in the deck and draw a card. Foolish Burial. And now for a card that's at 1 for FTK reasons, Slash Draw. I get to discard a card, send cards off the top of my deck to the grave equal to the number of cards my opponent controls. Then draw 1 card, show it to you. If it was Slash Draw, send it to the grave and I inflict 2,000 for every card on my opponent's board and it gets destroyed. That's the FTK. But if it wasn't Slash Draw, it gets sent to the grave and shuffle cards from your grave into your deck equal to the number of cards sent from your deck to the graveyard by this effect. So it allows me to essentially, if I've milled some cards that are important, I can recycle cards that normally aren't recyclable, like reuse Pot Avarice, for instance. Now we have 3 copies of Galaxy Cyclone. This is technically an MST as well as a Cyclone. Target a set spell and trap in the field, destroy it. During your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the grave, I can banish it to target a face-up spell trap in the field and destroy it. That's it for the spells. Next we have 2 copies of Trap Trick. Banish your normal trap from my deck, except itself. Set 1 card with the same name directly from my deck. Also can be activated this turn. However, after it resolves, you can only activate 1 trap card. And you can only activate 1 Trap Trick per turn. Next we have Fire Lake of the Burning Abyss. I get, this is technically one of their blowout cards. I send 2 face-up Burning Abyss monsters I control to the grave, then target up to 3 cards in the field, destroy those targets. Next, 3 copies of Breakthrough Skill. Target 1 effect monster opponent controls, negate its effects of that opponent's face-up monster until the end phase of this turn. During your turn, except the turn this was sent to the grave, I can banish it, which means you would have to wait a whole turn, and then on your turn you can banish it to essentially use its effect again to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects. So, I run it not only because I can speed through it, but if it somehow gets milled by one of my cards, people will forget about it, and then, oh, graveyard effect. 2 copies of Fiend Griefing. Target a monster your opponent's graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. Then I can send 1 Fiend-type monster from my deck to the graveyard. So it's essentially, can screw up plays like a Monster Reborn or a specific monster that needs to target something in grave, and then I get a free monster in my graveyard. Can't complain. And last, we have 3 copies of Lost One. Target a face-up special summon monster on the field. It has its effects negated. Also, its original attack is halved. This is permanent. If a monster is special summoned from your opponent's extra deck while this card's in the grave, except during the damage step, I can reset it, but then it gets banished when it leaves the field. Next we go into the extra deck. We have one of the new monsters, Cherubini, Aban Angel of the Burning Abyss. This by itself just takes 2 level 3s, which means it's generic. Monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it protects Burning Abyss from dying to their own claws. If this card would be destroyed by battle or an opponent's card effect, I can send 1 other card I control to the grave instead, which is a condition. It's a continuous effect, it doesn't activate. I can send one level 3 monster from my deck to the graveyard. This is cost, so they can't Ash Blossom. Then target a Burning Abyss monster on the field. It gains attack and defense equal to the attack and defense of the monster sent to the end of the turn. And both effects are once per turn. Next we have, I need to get a third one, 2 copies of Dante, Travel to Burning Abyss. 2 level 3s. Once per turn, detach material. Choose a number between 1 and 3. Then send that many cards on the top of my deck to the graveyard. Until the end phase of this turn, this card gains 500 for each. 500 attack for each card sent to the grave this way. If it attacks, it's switched to defense mode at the end of the battle phase. And if this card is sent to the grave, you can target one Burning Abyss card in your grave, except itself, and add it to the hand. So this is sort of the reason why Graf and Seer were at 1 for so long, because there's actually a loop that essentially uses Seer. You could purposely let Seer go kaboom, bring back Dante. Dante leaves the field, brings back Seer to the hand, and Brother, may I have some loops? Next we have Virgil, the rock star, the Burning Abyss.
Excellent!
Needs a tuner and non-tuner. You can only control one of them. Once per turn, you can discard one Burning Abyss card, then target one card your opponent controls or in their grave. Shuffle it into the deck. If it's destroyed by a battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, I draw a card. It's pretty dope. Another card that I could see getting banned because of Drytrons, but I would love for her to come back to 3. Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal. Needs 2 level 6s, but can also be overlaid once per turn by using a Burning Abyss XYZ and discarding a Burning Abyss monster, to Exceed Summon her. During either player's turn, you detach material to send 1 card from your deck to the grave. And if this card in your possession is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Burning Abyss monster from your extra deck, ignoring summoning conditions. Just to let you know, if you summon this over Dante, you cannot use her effect the same turn. So, she's fair in her own deck, which I can't complain. I would love to see more support one day, though, because I think this is beautiful. And I think the whole lore behind Burning Abyss is awesome. Next, for one of the other synchros, we have Stardust Charge Warrior. Tuner and non-tuner. When it's synchro summoned, I can draw a card. And even though it's only 2,000 attack, this card can attack all special summon monsters your opponent controls once each. Doesn't really come up, but it's pretty damn good. Now we have the Link monsters. IP Masquerena, Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Mekk-Knight Crusading Avramax. Why am I an asshole and I do this in all my favorite decks? Well, because, I don't know. So we have Tron Girl. During your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after resolves, Link summon a Link monster using this and other monsters in your field. Link monster made with this cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Nightmare Cerberus, 2 monsters with different names. When it's Link summoned, you can discard a card, target a special summon monster your opponent controls. Your opponent's main monster zone. Destroy it. And if it was co-linked, which means the arrows are pointing to each other, it can draw you a card. And co-linked monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects once per turn. Yeah, Nightmares. That was a great idea. Nightmare Phoenix. Similar effect to Brain. Cerberus. Alright, there we go. Except you discard 1 to destroy a spell trap your opponent controls. And if it's co-linked, you draw a card. And while it's co-linked with other monsters once per turn, co-linked monster control cannot be destroyed by battle. These are just spot removal to get something I need out of my hand to the grave, or just a stepping stone to summon this totally fair card. 2+ monsters, especially from the extra deck. While this Link summon card is on the field, your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. Also, their monsters cannot target monster for attacks, except this guy. Once per battle during damage calculation, if it battles a special summon monster, quick effect, you can make this card gain attack equal to the opponent's monster's attack during that damage calculation only. And, if by some reason, if you manage to get rid of him, while he's considered a Link summon monster, he has the audacity, if he gets from field to grave by a battle or opponent's card effect, you can shuffle a card on the field into the deck. So, basically, Avramax with IP Masquerena, have to target it for attack. It smacks around special summon monsters. Can't be targeted by card effects. Can't be destroyed by card effects. You can see where I'm going with this. It's kind of... This shouldn't be a thing. For the last links, we have Unchained Abomination. 2+ monsters, including a link. If a card or card on the field is destroyed by card effect, except by its own effect, except during damage step, target a card in the field, destroy it. When another monster is destroyed by battle, you can target a card in the field and destroy it. During the end phase, you can target a card in the field and destroy it. Yeah, I think you know why I like this card. Courtesy of my trained Fnatic teammate, Infiltrack Fortress Megaclops. You're like, this is a Link 3 with 4,000 attack? What's its material? 3 XYZs. Unaffected by other monster effects except those of XYZs, and cannot be destroyed by battle except with an XYZ monster. You can target XYZ in your grave and one card your opponent controls. That's monster or spell or trap. Special summon the Xyz from my grave and attach my opponent's card to it as a material. And if I do that effect for the rest of that turn, they only take half damage. But again, you got a Link through with 4,000 attack. It's kind of ridiculous. We also have one copy of the Phantom Knights of Breaksword. Normally, I stick as pure as possible, but this is literally going to be Dante the Burning Abyss when I get a third copy. 2 level 3s, detach material, then I can target a card I control and a card my opponent controls, blow them both up.
Allahu Akbar!
And if its XYZ card is destroyed, you can target 2 Phantom Knights, bring it back, increase their level. That's irrelevant, because not running Phantom Knights, this will be replaced by Dante, but at the moment, it's pretty good. And my teammate, the Train Master, is going to be selling me his copy, so for now I have a proxy. Divine Arsenal, AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Zeus! Onomatopoeia .deck. So essentially, takes 2 level 12s. Yeah, that's not happening. But for some stupid, godforsaken reason, if any ANY XYZ monster on my board battles, basically at main phase 2, I can just overlay an innocent little Dante into this little dude, 3,000, 3,000. Oh, but Blood Archer, that's not ridiculous. It's only a 3,000, 3,000 monster. Well, thankfully I'm not abusing it like some of the other idiots in this community.
The sheep, mere sheep.
But, quick effect, which is not once per turn or once per chain, by the way, I can attach 2 materials to send all cards except itself from the field to the grave. Now, this is literally just my secondary win condition, and I'm never in my right or wrong or Monday through Friday mind ever going to stack a Jenga amount of materials on it, because I like, not to play solitaire. But, yeah, no, this card's great. I feel like it should not be so abusable and splashable, but here we are, the year of our Lord Lucifer 2021.
Ask yourself the question, WWLD, what would Lucifer do?
But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck list, and feel free to comment any comments, concerns, or tips you guys want to give me. I've been playing Burning Abyss for a little while, but ultimately I like having competitive decks, I like having casual decks, and then I just like having decks because of the lore and the beauty and the style of it. Till next time, bye guys.